Welcome to Vitalify Unplugged. You're listening to your hosts, Gry and Steph.
In this podcast, we talk about everything health and well-being, science and technology, and ancient wisdom.
This is for the quirky humans navigating the messy middle, looking for the path to true vitality.
It's for the curious minds and tired bodies looking for clarity, energy, and inspiration that works your way.
Righto, so we press record, Gry, and it's happening.
Woohoo! It's been a bit of a journey, hasn't it? You know, how long have you been working together?
I would
a year?
getting close to a year. Yep.
Yeah, and sort of in different capacities and all that sort of stuff, but always had that. I think we always knew that we wanted to work together in some way or other, right?
But funnily enough, this podcast thing popped up pretty quick because we were on different tangents on doing different things. And then you suggested a podcast and I was like, yes, I want to do a podcast. And finally someone wants to do a podcast with me. So I jumped on immediately and
Yeah. You had a couple of false starts with other people as well, didn't you? Like I think you had been seeding me for a long time and going, I want to do a podcast. I want to do a podcast.
well,
but I think it just made sense, right? Because for me, it brings together all the things that we're committed to, like helping people live their best lives, helping people navigate technology, understanding science, and bringing in a little bit of ancient wisdom too, right? And the messy middle, right?
I believe it's all part of the evolution of the human species if we zoom out. And I'm really, really excited that we're on this journey together. It's awesome. Thank you.
Super excited.
Yeah.
So
why Vitalify though? Why did we choose Vitalify?
Whoa, that was an interesting journey. You know, as a true tech whisperer and geek and AI strategist, I live inside the ChatGPT, and I know you do too. Sometimes we use it for things that we shouldn't, like therapy, right? but please do not do that, everybody. You know, get some talk to real people occasionally. I think we were playing with vitality. We were talking about longevity. We were talking about anti-inflammation, some of the stuff that we work with in our health and wellness business as well. And then we were trying to find names that were unique and not taken already.
Yeah. Which was harder than we thought.
Yeah, because we tried every combination of vitality, didn't we?
Yeah. Yeah.
And abundance and a few different other ones. And then we made up our own word.
Yep. And I love it. And I love that we added unplugged on the end.
Yeah, because we were trying, what were we trying? We tried vortex, we tried the vertex, we tried vibe, we tried all the VVs.
Yeah.
But unplugged is so cool because I think that's what we need to do. Unplug technology as well, right?
Yeah. Well, finding a harmonious relationship between being plugged and unplugged to find health and vitality.
Yeah. And not just unplugged from power, because I think we both have so much power in ourselves, we probably don't need a PowerPoint.
No. I've got extension cords and multi-plugs happening in my brain and body.
It's a wire. Anyway, from the neurospicy world of Fremantle, or Wolyalop, as I like to call it.
Wow. And I'm over on the southeast coast in the peninsula on Bunurong land. So, yeah.
We should probably let our international listeners know that Fremantle or Wolyalop is in Western Australia and where you live is in Victoria in the southeast coast.
Yeah, opposites.
We've never met in person, by the way.
No.
Maybe we've seen each other.
Tech connected.
Tech connected. Anyway.
Okay, so
Off
Tell
on
me,
tangents.
yes, let's reel it back in. So tell me, Gree, what brought you here? Why health? Why tech? And why now?
It's interesting. I've always, so I wanted to become a doctor of medicine. And then I didn't get in on my first attempt. No secrets there. Had to study extra hard for it. And then I thought, you know what else is there? So I had this epiphany that I wanted to study technology because I felt that it would underpin everything that we do. And I was right. I'm like a predictor of the future. And so throughout my, 35 years in tech, I have had a deep interest in that intersection between health and well-being, health and education and technology. So using technology to create better outcomes for people across the world. But so I have had my own health tech company, and while I had that, I I thought I had Alzheimer's. My brain went out the window. I was in my 50s and it just kept disappearing off on tangents. No, not even tangents. I'd just go blank. And so I was convinced that I had Alzheimer's. I went to see the doctor, and it's kind of a funny story because she asked, "So what brings you here today?" And I'm going, "I don't remember." That's how bad it was. Anyway, she did truckloads of tests, and it turns out it was just good old menopause. And through that, I kind of, with awareness, I think awareness is so important in these things. So with awareness, I then went, you know what? I don't really like to take medication or anything like that. So I'm just going to try and get the right supplements and eat right and move and tune into my body. So that's kind of kind of how I ended up with it, and
Here
um,
you are.
happy with it, happy with it, happy to be here with everybody today.
Yeah, that's very cool. I love that.
And how
My
about you, Steph? Your story was pretty different, right?
Yeah, I started on a very different um journey, but I I sort of accidentally landed in health. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And when I went to check out the unis, they had this degree called health science. And I thought that's quite nondescript, but maybe. And actually, I too wanted to be a doctor, but I never believed that I would
Mm,
obtain these grades. So I didn't even try. And my grandfather had recommended becoming a nurse, but to be
mm,
honest, I'm very kind and nurturing, but looking after people probably wasn't my first pick. So when I went to this uni, I actually seen that health sciences and nursing was a double degree, and I thought, oh, that should keep everybody happy. Um, but
because it's all about keeping people happy, isn't it?
well, for me, it was definitely because,
Yeah,
funnily enough, my family weren't massive on. No one in my family had gone to university actually, except my
same.
dyslexic granddad, who was an entomologist moving over from the US to Australia. So he was the only educated person at university in my family, and so it
Mm,
wasn't something that our family did. But fast forward a few years, went and did nursing out in remote areas, and I found myself exploring Indigenous culture, living out bush, and connecting with health in a very different way. And again, I still knew that nursing wasn't really my vibe. So I
mm,
wanted to travel the world. I wanted to explore cultures. I wanted to learn everything that didn't happen in my small country town at home. So I
mm,
did all the things that my parents didn't want me to do and sailed on a boat from Fremantle all the way up to Darwin and learnt there very quickly that I am a very small part of this world, but at the same time, by tuning in, there's immense power in how you can influence around. So it was
mm,
the beginning of understanding my intuition, connecting with
yeah,
nature in a very different way. And then I proceeded to keep going out bush and learning from Aboriginal mob in a nursing capacity. I
mm,
traveled to India and learnt from an anthroposophical doctor in Hyderabad, who is one of my key instigators to deep awareness in body, spirit, and uh, mind connection, which then just continued to evolve throughout my life. I didn't go off the rails, but I went away from health for a little while, worked in schools in Thailand and taught English and played. I've done so many crazy things, and eventually I ended up back working with young people in
Mm,
schools and staying in the healthcare system, creating medical clinics, and just continuing to evolve my relationship and connection to my body, my mind, and my essence. And now in this most recent times, learning about nourishment, so nourishing the
I think that's
body at
important.
cellular
Yeah,
level,
yeah,
something that we talk about a lot, and
yeah,
and
yeah.
feeding ourselves from the inside out, but not just nourishing our bodies with supplements and foods, but nourishing our minds with healthy, inspiring kind of feeds that we see on social media, and how we
Mm,
engage with technology to keep our body, minds healthy, and then unplugging and reaching out to nature to learn how to tune in and listen to the world around us, then guide us to ourselves. So sorry, bit
and
long,
get
but
grounded.
yeah,
And get grounded.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I know, because I definitely fly around and out and about.
Ooh, little
Yeah,
butterflies, as we call them. Butterflies.
lots of them.
But I've just learned another connection between us because I have not met many other people that have spent time in Hyderabad. Or were
Oh,
you not in Hyderabad?
no, I wasn't.
Right?
Of
So
course you would have. Tech
yeah,
city, high tech city.
yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah, yeah. So I
god,
was in
yeah.
high tech city. Now apparently it's totally different. This is like
Yeah.
25 years ago, and you know, learning about a bit about Ayurvedic medicine, and
Mm.
you know, because I was over there for weeks and months on end, setting up outsourced software teams and things. So yeah, so I
Oh,
got
we need
to.
to unpack that later.
Yeah,
That is
we
cool.
do. We'll have to have an
Yep,
episode on all of that at some stage.
awesome.
Um, but yeah, it's just learning the different ways of life, you know, because I guess as a kid I lived in Botswana. After I'm Norwegian, in case I forgot to say, um, and lived in Botswana. Learned about the witch doctors there. That was a scare. That's another one we need to unpack.
Ooh, I love it. I
How
love
they
that.
so I was 13 to 15 there, so young virgin, very popular among witch doctors
Whoa.
for for vitality in
Oh
men.
my gosh, Gry, this is
Different
cool.
story. Anyway, this has nothing to do with Korea or this,
It
but just
does
a little
actually.
bit.
It
But
does
yeah,
because
yeah,
sorry, it does because, I think what I find amongst Australian community anyway, and particularly, um, Anglo cultures, is
mm,
that there is this sense of, you know, keeping to what's safe, keeping to what happened in the past. And I think when visionaries and adventurers like you, and I hope I'm in that category,
you
when
definitely
we
are.
when we expand our mind and know that other things happen in different places and then come and share it, we kind of crack open permission and space for people to explore a bit deeper without losing their own culture and their own values and identity, but understanding that
Mm,
health, well-being, and vitality are all integral to thriving as a human and a soul. And then it can look like so many different things for so many
mm,
different people. And I think
yeah, yeah.
being exposed to a witch doctor, which is something I have never encountered
I wasn't really
consciously.
exposed. I was just scared walking home in the dark. I think my mom was more scared
Yeah,
for me.
but even that consciousness, knowing about that deeper
Yeah,
magic, deeper energy, that's
yeah, yeah.
cool. We need to explore that more. I'm excited.
We will have to explore. And it's interesting. You just touched on something there about connecting with people of different cultures and inviting them in and things. And you know, as a I'm going to call it neurospicy Norwegian, I'm very direct. I ask questions because I'm super curious. And you know, my partner will be in an Uber, and I'll go, "Oh, so where are you from?" Every time he knows the question is coming, I'm not asking him, I'm asking the driver, because most drivers are, well, doesn't really matter where they're from, because I asked that question and then I got told for a while, "Oh, you can't ask that." I'm going, "But why not? Why on earth can I
Mm.
not ask that?" And so now I just say, "Hey, I'm Norwegian. What's your country of origin?" And I ask it in a different way. But I do think that having that curiosity and actually not being Anglo, but having a different language, um, is an opener, a conversation starter for people from different backgrounds, etc. So,
So so great. I just want to go back to what we hope to create in Vitalify Unplugged, this podcast, and how you think we can serve and help others by having this space open.
ooh, big question. So I think I've always been in the tech space, and I've always taken to it really naturally. You know, nowadays everybody's talking about AI, as I like to say. That's the Norwegian pronunciation. And everybody's an expert. But I met AI back in 1986, and then I was working with early versions and all through the 90s, and I even spoke about it in my TEDx talk in 2018. And then nobody got it. Nobody got it. Even last week, some friends of mine were talking about, oh yeah, all about AI. These are people who don't have anything to do with AI. Um, and I said, well, I talked about that in my TEDx talk that you watched. And so, oh, I didn't hear you say that. Okay, right, okay, whatever. so, so it's about being a little bit ahead of time. But having been in a health tech is not just about AI, but AI is a big part of it now, and it can have really tremendous positive impacts for the health system, right? Also for our mental well-being, also for the neurospicy individuals, those with the butterfly effect, things that get distract you, you know, being able to use technology to help us um, actually stay connected, but then also create the time so we can get unplugged. How
Yeah.
does that work, right? So using things like generative AI, like ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever it is, to help you do things more effectively. Using automations, using I don't know, we're not going to go into deep fakes, but I love some of the technologies coming out. Facial recognition to understand children that have are on the autism spectrum, right?
Mm. Yeah.
And so that you can help them. Now, I I have a friend, and we might bring her on as a guest on the podcast, who was diagnosed with autism as a child, never was told, but she connects with them, so she can actually read the same things that AI can read now, but
Mm.
not all of us can. So it's being able to use these wonderful technologies that are here to stay. They're not going to go away. Use them for good to complement what we also know we have to do in our personal lives, and how health and well-being doesn't come from the doctor's office or from the hospital. It starts before the womb. I think really it
Yeah.
starts with the nurture. It starts with how we nurture our children. I don't have children personally, but generations to come, or people around us, and how we nurture ourselves so that we can be there for them.
Yeah.
So how does tech fit in? I just feel that tech, it's part of our landscape now, and we want to bring that in because it complements and it augments and it amplifies positive outcomes from the other things we're doing. Does that
And yeah, and
answer
I
your
want to
question?
yeah, and if it's okay, I would like
Yeah,
to add to that
yeah,
as a
of course.
parent with kids growing up with AI. And I think one thing I know that you talk passionately about is how we grow up AI in terms of raising it right.
Yeah,
And I think as a mother with two tweens and teens,
twins. Yeah,
using being exposed to technology, even though I do limit it's around them, it's going to be in their future. And so a big part of my whole why in my life is my kids, but I
Mm,
also want them to be able to thrive into the future. And I do believe AI is not going anywhere. It's not going to move soon. So how can we integrate AI to create health and well-being so that our kids
mm,
can thrive in the future and in a very changing world that we can't even comprehend that they're going to be living in, and how as parents do we stay healthy and
mm.
adaptive to the changes, in a way that is not going to increase our mental health, stress,
Lord. Mm,
anxiety, thoughts of suicide, depression, all those current hot topics that
mm,
society in Australia anyway is really battling with among young people and
mm.
people moving into their middle ages. Like how do we um, support people to embrace AI as a health tool in a way that doesn't over dominate but
Yeah.
helps them find a balance?
And it's a really very, very important point. How do we actually help our children thrive and protect them from the ills, right? So,
Yeah.
when I talk about being good parents to AI or raising it right, it's actually our collective responsibility, in my humble, not so humble opinion, to make sure that we steer AI in the right direction. So if AI um, is biased or isn't giving you the right information and things, you need to actually steer it in the right direction, not just for yourself, but for the better good of the world, so that it is better. But it's interesting. I was just preparing for a live that I'm doing later on today, and I'm talking about identity theft and how to protect women and children, particularly from identity theft, because of deep fakes. Scary
Huge.
area, scary
Huge.
area, right?
Yeah.
So, so I think it's, as parents, we need to, parents and good humans, we need to be able to do that. And I think the important thing about being good parents to AI is AI transformers generative. So GPT stands for generative pre-trained. What
Transformer.
is it called? GPT transformer.
Mm,
Transformer. So it's like a teenager, right? So you
mm.
actually have to steer it in the right direction. And I often quote Mo Gawdat, who used to be the head of Google X, which is the AI arm for Google, who has come up with the term being good parents to AI. But it, just letting it run off is about it's like giving the keys to a young teenager and expecting them to drive superbly on the freeway.
And so to add to that, what I
Yeah,
believe
yeah.
in health and well-being, if we as the adults and as the parents know how to nourish our bodies, our minds, and our spirits
Mm,
through listening to nature to help guide us, to help direct AI,
yes.
then the likelihood of all those fears that everyone's ramping up and talking about,
Mm,
it's going to take over the world, blah, blah, blah. Well, if that happens, they're going to be raised by good parents, so they'll make good decisions. So,
mm,
I mean, that's, worst case scenario. But at the same time, if we are conscious of that
yeah,
potentiality, then we as humans now look after our bodies, we nourish
mm,
it with food, we look after our soils, we take care of our environment so that we can both coexist
mm.
together and in a sustainable and long and with vitality, right?
I was
Like
going to say, with
we're
vitality and
we're
longevity.
flourishing and,
Yeah.
I mean, it's utopian thinking. I keep telling myself off because I have these very idealistic views, but I have to aim for something. And if it's going to be something, it's to create harmonious relationships within your cells that then ripples right out to society,
Yeah.
community, relationships. And,
Mm,
how do we do that? We need to take care of ourselves. So, and by taking care of ourselves, we're teaching our kids how to take care of themselves. And then when they try to take care of someone else or AI, they are feeding it and nourishing it in a way that creates good robots, good humans, good responses that benefits the greater good.
It's
very
interesting because you said in ourselves, and I thought you said in ourselves at a cellular level.
both.
And I thought that's really cool. It's in ourselves. All right. Because that is part of what we do, is really looking at that, getting that balance at a cellular level so that we can absorb the good stuff and get rid of the bad stuff, right? So that whatever we nourish our body with is actually absorbed into the cellular level and things. But that's probably a different episode that we'll be talking about that in.
But I guess in essence, it highlights what we're bringing to the table in Vitalify Unplugged. What we're trying to do is open up discussions about how to stay healthy, how to live with vitality, and how to share that wisdom and knowledge through looking through the lens of tech, looking through the lens of ancient wisdom, because I think even though I believe in evolution, I also believe that the ancestors have extreme deep knowledge that has passed on through humanity for us to keep evolving. So listening to indigenous cultures, listening to nature, and then molding it into our world in a way that we can thrive, and with the intent of being the best version of ourselves.
Wow. A little bit of a tech glitch here, but we're back. We're back to finish off this episode, aren't we? So,
The launch episode.
Yes, launch episode it is. And few tech glitches, as we say, TTT, tech takes time. And
Yes.
sometimes we run out of memory, both inside our heads and inside our computers. You know,
We're learning.
that's
We're
the way it goes.
learning.
We are definitely learning. And I guess that's kind of testament to some of the things that we're trying to do here. We're not trying to be perfect. We are not perfect, but we are perfect
Far from it.
in our own ways. So I think I can just talk about the
We're wrapping it up.
episode.
Yep, launch
Wrapping
is
it
being wrapped up.
But I do want to talk about the next episode, our official episode 1, which would be Vitality Starts with a Click. So we talk a little bit more about where we come from and where we're going to and what we're trying to achieve with this. And that's us for now. Anything else, Steph?
I think this is going to be an interesting journey, and we're learning on the job and hopefully modeling imperfection that is perfectly okay.
Very true, very true. All right,
Well,
let's
thanks, Gry.
wrap it. Thank you.
See you in the next one. Bye.
See ya.
Thanks for tuning in to Vitalify Unplugged, our official first launch episode. If you're ready to trade overwhelm for ease and curiosity for clarity, hit the follow button, share with your friends, and let's walk this wild, beautiful path together. And join us for the next episode where we explore how vitality can begin with a click. I look forward to seeing you there.